Welcome to my video. This is Eckogen. I'll be going over the mechanics for Throne of Oblivion, the new weekly raid based from Nightfall Sanctuary, Boss 4, also known as TT. The attack rotation is very similar to the actual raid boss. If any of its attacks hit people, it will slowly fill the gauge. The first attack is a triple swipe, knocks back. Summons a Golem, and that will punch people. A front unblockable swipe. For this attack, the tank needs to go behind the boss before the attack happens. That's how they direct the 180-degree suction attack away from the raid. Otherwise, if the tank stays in the same spot, this is what happens right here. It then follows up with a linear attack, and then from there, the attack rotation will repeat. If the tank is too far from the boss will jump to the tank, and that will reset the rotation as well. Mechanics happen at 90, 60, and 30%. The boss jumps to the middle of the room, and the message creates a Flamewave Circle will appear. Stop DPSing, as DPSing will fill the gauge. Everyone will receive one of two possible debuffs, Fallen Soul or Blinding Power. You have 30 seconds to cleanse the debuff. Four large circles will spawn around the room. Their placements and order will be RNG, followed by two smaller circles. So I'll show you guys the small and large circle. So here are the four large circles. So here's one, the second one, third, and the fourth. And the two small circles are here and there. So while this is happening, people need to go into the large circles. A maximum of 3 per circle, as having any more will result in only 3 being cleansed, and the extras will die. It doesn't matter too much where people go. You can go by the general rule of matching the same debuff at 12 o'clock circle, meaning if you look at the front of the boss, if he's white, Blinding Power will go to 12 o'clock circle, or if he's dark, Fallen Soul will go to the 12 o'clock circle. The only problem with this general rule is that there isn't always going to be a circle at 12 o'clock. So very shortly we will get cleansed, then a sword will drop on all of us, which will damage and CC you. You can time your iframe for this part. Now, the 4 large circles will change depending on the debuff composition. For example, in a circle with 3 people, 2 of them will have Fallen, 1 will have Blinding. The circle will become dark and vice versa. If there are 2 people in a circle and each have the opposite debuff, the circle becomes neutral, which will heal the boss. The boss will now automatically jump to each of the large 4 circles in the order he spawned them. The gauge will increase or decrease depending on the current element the boss is on and what type of circle he lands on. Now, right here, this is the small circle. Don't touch it if you're not helping flip the large circles. So by stepping on this small circle right here, the person that stepped on it, it will cause the circle to disappear and they will gain a buff. This buff will allow them to flip any large circle once. So this is helpful if the gauge is too high and you want the boss to land on the opposite element. For instance, if we have a dark circle, which we do, we have a dark circle right here on the left side, and we have a light circle on the right side. Let's say the light gauge is almost filled all the way to maximum. And currently it's on the light gauge right now, but it's not that filled. But let's just say it's almost filled. You would want to flip this light circle to dark. So the person would step on that small circle, they gain the buff and immediately touch this light circle to flip it to dark. The dark can be left alone because since the boss is in light, if it lands on dark, that reduces the gauge and vice versa. And you're still holding DPS, by the way. After the boss jumps on the fourth and last large circle, he will do a multi-hit AoE. You want to use Hamun Block or FM Destroyer Sheath. That ends the phase. Now he'll go back to his regular attack rotation. So here's the triple swipe. Summons a Golem. Front swipe. And then because the tank was too far, he jumped to the tank, and that caused the attack rotation to reset. So the tank could actually do that to stop it from doing the fourth attack, which is the 180-degree suction attack, by just forcing it to jump every time before that attack happens. So this boss is all about balancing the meter. You don't want too much light nor too much dark. That's why in each phase there are 2 small circles to help you flip the large circles as needed to help control the gauge. Alright, so we're getting close to 60%. 60% is when phase happens. He'll jump to the middle of the room. Phase starts, stop DPSing. Everyone gets fallen or blinding. He will spawn 4 large circles, 2 small circles. 3 people per large circle. If you did it correctly, you'll get cleansed. And then he'll drop a sword on everyone, which will damage in CC. Now he'll jump to each large circle in the order he spawned them. And then people doing the flipping will flip the circles as needed to help control the gauge. So Hamun Block or Sheath this attack, and now you're safe to DPS the boss. So remember that the circle outcome depends on the debuff composition. 2 of the same debuffs will force the circle to become that element. So 2 fallen equals dark circle, 2 blinding equals light circle. And then having 1 of each will produce a neutral circle. The neutral circle will heal the boss for, I believe it's 2%. And as mentioned before, mechanics happen at 90, 60, and 30%, so the final phase will happen at 30%. Alright, 30%, jumps to the middle, stop DPSing. RNG if you get fallen or blinding, he spawns 4 large circles, 2 small circles, maximum of 3 people per large circle. We then get cleansed, he drops the sword, and he starts jumping to each of the 4 circles in the order he spawned them. Keep holding DPS. Flip circles as needed. So you can see the light bar is almost full. And we change one circle from light to dark to help reduce the gauge. Common block or sheath this attack, and you're safe to DPS. So you always have to cleanse your debuff at the start of the phase, or you will die after 30 seconds. If you do die at any point during this raid, it's fine, just press 4 and you can rejoin the fight. So that was the last phase. From here the boss is just going to do its regular attack rotation until it's dead. Alright, so that's the mechanics for Throne of Oblivion. I will include the mechanics in the video description like I do for all my guide videos. As always, my social links will be in the video description. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace out.